Premiere Special. We're broadcasting live from Manual Cinema Studios in beautiful Kimball Arts Center in Chicago. And I'm one of the 5 co-founders and co-artistic directors of Manual Cinema. You may not recognize me from originating such roles as Ada in Ada Ava, the mom in Lula Del Rey, Hansel in Hansel and Gretel, Helen from The Magic City, and most recently, the creature in Frankenstein. Did someone say character actor? Well, we're here tonight to celebrate 10 years of Manual Cinema, which is crazy. And we're premiering a brand new live show, Dream Delivery Service, our first ever made-for-live stream performance. Ooh. We'll also have special guests, a trip or two down memory lane, and we've got live music. Gotta love those bells, Kyle. We'll also have, we're all just beaming to you live from our studio, socially distanced and 6 feet apart. Manual Cinema's world premiere Telefundraiser special is a fundraiser, but it's also a fundraiser. We're here because we need your support. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, almost all of our touring this year has been canceled. To help offset that loss, we're asking for your support. Please, you can make a 100% tax-deductible donation to Manual Cinema through our website. 10% of all the money received will go towards artists featured in our 10-year anniversary Retrospectacular. Please take note of the donation button below this video. It looks like this. You can click on it to donate directly to Manual Cinema. Oh, thank you. You can also click on our store button to buy Manual Cinema merch, like our t-shirts, albums, tote bags, this special silkscreen poster designed by LIZI BREIT, as well as this 10-year anniversary commemorative enamel pin. Gorgeous, isn't she? I'd also like to point out the live comment section on the right. You can leave comments or questions for us, and at the end of the show, we'll be doing our first ever live talkback and puppet time, where we'll be showing you behind the scenes of the studio of how we made things and answering your questions. So please do stick around for that. It's gonna be pretty cool. Many of you tuning in tonight are fans, friends, and family. Hi, Mom. But some of you might be new to Manual Cinema, and you might be asking yourself, what exactly is Manual Cinema? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because Drew Durr put together this amazing video that will explain everything. Cue the instructional video, Shelby. Well, now that you know more about who we are and what we do, we'd love to tell you what we've been up to for the last decade. It is our 10th birthday party, after all. Oh. I do love birthdays. Thank you. Over the last 10 years, Manual Cinema has created 9 feature-length productions, an Emmy Award-winning short video with the New York Times, and our first animations for a major motion picture. It's so scary. I can't. We've also toured the world performing our shows on 5 continents, and we've been able to meet a lot of incredible people and seen some amazing things. Here are some choice moments from being on the road, compiled by Ben Kaufman. Thank you to the touring company for providing a bunch of those photos. And if you're wondering, yes, I did get to hold a koala in Australia, and it was amazing. And the first time Manual Cinema left the country was to perform in Iran at the Tehran Mubarak International Puppet Festival. Touring all those shows means we've been able to work with a lot of incredible performers, and I'd love to introduce you to one tonight as a special guest. MYRA Sue is an amazing puppeteer. She's like a tornado octopus behind the projectors. It's just like a whirl of arms. It's incredible. With Manual Cinema, she's originated roles in Mementos Mori and Frankenstein, as well as toured the world with Ada Ava and Lula Del Rey. MYRA also makes her own feature-length puppet multimedia shows, and I'd love to share with you an excerpt of one of those performances tonight. I'm thrilled to present with you a short excerpt of MYRA Sue's String of Echoes. Please enjoy. Incredible. Thank you so much, Myra, for sharing your work with us tonight. The puppetry was performed by Myra Sue, Kevin Michael Wesson, and Kelly Nesham, with live music performed by TATSUO AOKI and the Mayumi Project. We can't wait to continue our 10-year anniversary celebration, but first, a word from our sponsor.
Okay. You just caught me admiring Manual Cinema's beautiful silkscreen print designed by LIZI BREIT, celebrating their 10-year retro spectacular. And isn't it gorgeous? You know, you could have this print for $30 if you just follow the link below, and you could buy it for yourself. Buy it for yourself. Buy it for yourself. I know I've already bought 45 copies. I'm their biggest fan. I love it. I love this poster. Oh, so much. I love it so much.
I see what she means. It is a very handsome poster. Thank you. Limited supply, folks. Manual Cinema started as a theater company that made live performance that looked like film. And over the last couple years, we've been using those techniques to create puppet animation for video and film. We'd love to share some of that work with you tonight. Please enjoy a compilation of the animations we've created over the last decade by Ben Kaufman. Wow, so many puppets. If I told you how many puppets were in this room right now, you would not believe me. I actually don't want to know how many. It's crazy. We have one more special guest before we premiere our brand new live show. And boy, is she special. MAREN Celeste has been with Manual Cinema since the very beginning, creating original vocals for the first project we ever made, the Ballad of Lula Del Rey. Since then, you may have heard her beautiful voice featured in Ada Eva, Lula Del Rey, The Magic City, The End of TV, and Mementos Mori, where she also runs live sound design. And she's even toured with our production of Frankenstein in a puppetry role. She's an incredible performer, musician, photographer, and filmmaker. And tonight I'm so honored to premiere a brand new music video for a song that she recorded while on tour with Manual Cinema. It's my privilege to present to you the premiere of Room by MAREN Celeste. So beautiful, so haunting. Thank you so much, MAREN. And thank you for joining us tonight for this special 10-year anniversary event. If you enjoyed the evening so far, we do ask you to consider making a donation to Manual Cinema. Due to COVID-19, we are unable to safely make live performance right now, and your support will help us guarantee that we can keep making work through this year into next year. To donate, visit our website or the link below. And if you have been able to make a contribution already, thank you so much for your support. It really does mean the world to us. Hello? Yeah. No, oh. Yeah, sure. Oh, that's great. Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, I'll tell them. Uh-huh. You checked with legal? Okay, great. Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, I gotta go. Okay, bye. Wow, that was a really exciting call. I just got word that we are okay to announce the trailer for a new piece that we're premiering later this year. While you guys watch that, I have to go get ready to do the show, but please do stick around. We'll be doing a live puppet time at the end, so please get ready with your questions and stick around and see if you recognize me. Be right back.
Without the experience of light, a colorful flower will never blossom. And without the experience of the Manual Cinema 10th Anniversary Commemorative Pin, your cool new summer look will just be a summer look.
super productive check-in. I hope everyone has an excellent evening and that you get to relax, have some you time. It's so important to connect with yourself and your body during this troubled time, and I just hope that everyone is taking the time to
bottom of the pan that is going to help crisp and almost like fry the bottom of the crust. As it cooks, try to break it up into smaller pieces.
Six states reported record increases yesterday. That includes nearly 2,400 new cases in Arizona, more than 26.
Things go away now. It'll go away. Things go away. Absolutely. It's,
Looking up from the Earth's surface, it's impossible not to be impressed by the sheer grandeur, splendor, and fluffiness of clouds. Water molecules momentarily suspended in air. A short reprieve on their endless journey through lakes and streams, plants and animals, always eventually returning to the heavens. They meld together in great plains of moisture. Here we meet a playful cirrus cloud. He's wandered away from his mother, and an updraft of warm air has taken notice. sunshine.
Hi guys! Thank you so much for joining us for our 10-year anniversary first virtual live theater event. We're gonna change over, take a couple seconds to get ready for our puppet time / virtual talk back. So please stick around and throw your questions in the comments. See you in a second.
I'm one of the 5 co-artistic directors of Manual Cinema, and I'm so thrilled that you all joined us here tonight. What we usually do after our shows would be to invite all of you up on stage here with all of us. We can't do that tonight, so we thought we would make our puppet time virtual and do a little backstage tour of the studio. So right now I'm behind the shadow screen, and Julia's on the camera. She's going to turn around and show us. Those are the 3 overhead projectors. Drew is on projector 3, and this is where we made all the shadow puppets in the show. So Drew's got his hands on our main character's computer table, and that tiny little puppet is a computer. And then on the screen, I stand here and I put my shadow, live human shadow in it, and I can open, close it, type. And then the other part of the show was made on the other side. So if you want to come in and join me, let's go around the screen. So anything that you saw that had color in it or illustration happens here. So the projectors are on the other side, we got the shadow screen, and then we've got the camera right here. I'll just grab one for you. Here is our dream delivery person. And that was all puppeted in front of the camera. And there's only one single camera for all the visuals in the show. The last 2 sites on the visual side are the cranky, and after the cranky, we've got a ton of miniatures, and behind the miniatures are our robot musicians. Thanks, Drew. And now I'm going to throw it across the whole studio over to Kyle and Ben, who are going to tell us about the sound of music.
Hey everyone, my name is Ben Kauffman. I'm one of the 5 co-artistic directors of Manual Cinema, and I'm here, I'm going to show you around the kind of music area. I'm playing a couple different instruments throughout the night. One of them is this piano here. It's a little different than a normal piano. It's been prepared, so it makes a bunch of kind of weird sounds that you wouldn't expect from a piano, kind of like this. I'm also playing some keyboard back here on top of the piano. And I'm also playing some electric bass. And here's Kyle.
Hey, what up, everybody? My name's Kyle VEGTER. I'm also one of the co-artistic directors of Manual Cinema. I'm also playing an array of instruments. My main thing in the show is this little synthesizer. I've got a couple variations on the synthesizer. This little trippier sound. I've also got this like very colorful array of bells over here that I was having maybe too much fun with during the Telefundraiser. I'm also the one controlling the robot, so I've got this little foot pedal that makes them play. There they go. I'm also playing the cello. It's down on the floor now a couple times during the show, and I think that's my whole setup. So at this point, we're gonna go ahead and go into our puppet time / Q&A. So if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and throw them into the live chat, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. So I'm going to throw it over to Sarah.
Kyle, I'm actually going to throw it back to you because our very first question is about the robots, which you might have seen in Frankenstein. This is their second show with us. They're now part of the repertory company. Kyle, can I throw it to you for the robot question?
Here I am. I'm right here. Still here.
Hey, Ben, what's our robot question? How do they work?
The robots, how do they work? So they're just like tiny little solenoid motors. They just have them like on and off. And they have just like a tiny little piston. And we've attached mallets to those tiny little pistons. And then we are just sending them what's called a MIDI track, which is just like it's like a way of representing music electronically. So we just send a MIDI file to them. And there's a little like robot brain over there that gets the MIDI signal and interprets it into just zeros and ones, just like on off for each robot. And that's it. They get a 1 or a 0 on or off, and that triggers them to trigger, the little piston to trigger. And then we put them in front of random objects that sound cool, and there you have it. Hope that answers your question.
Great. Our next question is, how do you make the puppets? And also, are we using any profile masks? Actually, in this show, we're not using any profile masks. So when you see me in shadow, it's just my actual face, except where I'm wearing this actual mask. There's a bunch of different types of puppets. I've got one up here with me, if you can see her. And Drew, can you join us to tell us a little bit more about it? So these are like paper cut illustrated puppets.
Yeah, so there are two kinds of puppets in here. The first is the kind that Sarah mentioned, which are illustrated puppets using like just colored cardstock and pen and ink. And they're all layered so that like each little like limb or detail, or in this case his mask and the hat, is each like a separate layer of paper. And then I'm actually gonna have someone grab the shadow cam back there. Julie, do you want to just get a close up on maybe like one of the backgrounds? So all the shadows in the show are made with a couple different layers. Like the house that you're seeing right now, that house is hand cut out of cardstock, and it's got another layer underneath it, which is transparency. And we design the backgrounds generally in the computer, and then print them out, and that's what gives you color or any kind of photographic or illustrative detail behind the shadow. And so with those two layers combined, it makes a complete image on the screen like that. Also, anytime something moves in shadow, those are generally made by jointing two pieces of paper together with like a little tiny bit of wire. That's how all the laptops in the show move, or Sarah's showing you the puppet of herself walking the laptop outside. That's just like a little wire attached to the laptop and a little invisible transparency tab that operates the laptop. All the shadow puppets in manual cinema are generally like pretty simple. They're all designed to do just like one thing. But cumulatively they make a sort of a more complex effect. Oh, totally. So the question is about when did we start working on this project and when did it start feeling like it was the right time to make a new thing? I'll start in on this, and Julia, if you want to join in too. So originally, we had not scheduled this live stream event. Originally, we were going to do a retrospective live theatrical run at the Chopin Theater, where we would perform a lot of our old shows, including Lula Del Rey and End of TV and Frankenstein and No Blue Memories. But obviously back in the spring, when the pandemic hit, we realized we could not do that anymore. And so what we decided to do was put all those shows online, first of all, for y'all to enjoy at home. And then the other thing we decided to do was it felt like we wanted to, it did feel like we wanted to like make something new. And I mean, we were all sitting at home and restless and wanting to create a new thing. And so we decided we did want to create a new live show for our 10th anniversary. But of course, it wasn't safe to do it in front of a live audience, and it wasn't particularly safe to hire outside performers. So we, the 5 artistic directors, decided that we would design a performance that would be safe to perform, where we could all be distanced while we were performing it. And even when we would actually like try and put masks in the performance. Oh, yeah. Here's Julia.
Hi, guys. Someone had the great question of whether we ever have technical difficulties during a show and how we work through them. And I would say absolutely yes. Our shows are made of tech, so there's a lot of things plugged into a lot of things that can go wrong. And then also just like the technicalness of touching all the puppets in real time and the organization involved with that means that puppets get lost, things fall off the table. Luckily, usually everyone knows if something happens that we have to skip. So it's a lot of just like intense eye contact and being like, okay, we don't have that. We're going to move to the next thing. And just kind of not stopping is a huge part of our process, as far as like things go wrong all the time, but we just have to keep doing the show. So you just have to keep going.
I would just add too that when you're in one of our shows, it really feels like it's like a...
Now go.
Wait, what?
Now you're up.
Cool. When you're in one of our shows, it really feels like it's like a living organism that all of us are kind of like bringing to life. So if one person's kind of like having an off day or is maybe like a little slower or faster, the rest of that organism can feel it and adjust to it. And so everybody is kind of like constantly adjusting to each other. And that kind of makes the show move forward.
And our next question kind of piggybacks off of what Kyle was talking about. The question was, how did the pandemic change how we work together? And yeah, in manual cinema, it really does feel like an organism. And when it's going well, it's like we're all dancing together. And usually, for the puppeteers at least, we are all really close together. We're all shoulder to shoulder, lending each other hands, moving around each other, like quickly and quietly. So for this show, we kind of had to figure out how we could safely distance from each other and still do the show. So one thing is we wrote masks into the show. We also created different isolated pods for each part of the show. So Mike, our technical director and sound engineer, is out in the hallway. We ran the cables all the way out there. Kyle and Ben are 20-some feet across the studio. Shelby is by herself at a stage management desk. And then Drew, Julia, and I, Drew and I are partners, so we shared the same space, and then we kept distance from Julia as we were puppeting. And it really did, it changed and added a bunch of challenges to what we did, but that kind of was part of the idea of the show, was an experiment of can we do manual cinema under safe conditions. Ooh, good question. How do we organize the puppets for the performance? Because that is like the single thing that will like make or break a performance, at least for me. So back behind the screen, each of the 3 projectors has their own puppet pile. Every puppet is used once. So when you see her computer room again, we're making duplicates of that. Once we use a puppet, we throw it under the table. Yes, and I see we are on our studio cam, and Drew is showing us the way that works. Puppet on the projector, and then under the table. And then For the puppets up here, a similar thing applies, but they're much more messy stacks. And it is a lot of help. So Julie and I are keeping distance from each other, but she's making sure that like I can get the clout in my hands. Things are kind of stacked and scattered around the table. This is after it. It looks like a massacre now, especially with all these pieces of the poor Dream Delivery Messenger. And then, you know, we also use like a lot of found objects like this plastic bag for cleaning up the disposed PDFs and JPEGs and things from the computer. Oh yeah. So our next question is, do we teach workshops and do education stuff? That is a great question, and I would love to answer it because I'm our education director. Manual Cinema loves teaching. You know, one of my favorite things to do is that when we tour all around the world, we usually hold Manual Cinema workshops at the same time. And in these workshops, we instruct the students and break them into groups and give them Manual Cinema puppets. And they all create their own original Manual Cinema short piece. It's really an exquisite pressure thing because they have to make it in like 45 minutes. And then we end the workshop with like a live Manual Cinema festival. And we've done that all across the world. We've had translators help us. We're not doing those right now. However, we have done a lot of like long-term residencies too. We taught a class at the University of Chicago. We've done multiple residencies at Yale Drama. We've gone into schools everywhere from first grade to, you know, graduate students. And right now we're trying to figure out how we can make manual workshops on Zoom, you know, and perhaps teaching people to do this kind of in front of the camera type of puppetry, because that seems like, since we're all spending so much time in front of computer cameras, let's figure out ways to make it creative and make it fun and tell stories to each other. Are we planning on any other pandemic live streaming? Also a great question. Indeed we are. Actually, our next show is made for live stream, and this was kind of like a first experiment for us. With like 15 minutes, we were asking ourselves, can we do this safely? Can we tell the story? And can we like set up a live stream just technically from our studio? Because we are going to premiere the Manual Cinema's Christmas Carol this Christmas. And that will be a live show. So we will perform it live at like every night here at the studio and then live stream it out and then conclude it with a puppet time. So please do stay tuned, and I hope you will all join us for the Christmas Carol.
And Christmas, I'll just add, Christmas Carol will run from December 3rd through the 20th. Tickets will go on sale sometime this fall. And yeah, we're super excited about it. So we hope everyone like stays tuned. Obviously, there'll be announcements on our newsletter, on our social media. Yeah, so just stay tuned. They're
great.
asking a question, but I'm just on camera, so I'm just kind of like
Wait, I've got it.
using this mask.
I have the next question. And the next question is, well, first is, how are the dowsers working? And also, I love that term, dowsers. We call them faders because we use them to fade up and down, but yes, they do literally douse the light. So they're just pieces of paper that we have gaff taped to the top of the projectors. And through like the use of tempo and duration, Drew can pretty much create most cuts that you can do with film. So we can do cross dissolves, we can do double exposures, we can do quick cuts for other sequences. And it's actually really simple. And the fact that all three projectors are focused on the same screen is how we can do that, how we can cut from one to the other or create those double exposures. They're all focused onto the same site. And then follow-up question is like, how do we get the pink? Good question. So, oh yeah, thanks, Julia. So there's a couple of different ways that we like get the pink in this show. One was how Julia explained earlier, there's acetate on top of the overhead projectors. But then the more vibrant pink was on our cranky right here. Actually, if you wanna, I'll turn the puppet cam to look at it if you wanna see it from camera one. Let's see, yeah. So this is actually kite paper, which like has this like kind of naturally adhesive quality, but actually there's like little pieces of Scotch tape here too, that because of how exposed the camera is, hopefully you can't see too much. And that kite paper is also how we like made the little masks. And that's something that we just had around the studio. I think Drew had brought it for another project that it didn't quite work for, but we're always squirreling away different papers and different objects because they might be useful in the next show. Next question? Great. How do we create the lighting effect? Great question. You know, this is one of our favorite tricks. We use it in Ada Ava and Lula. We really use it in all of our shows. So we've got one puppet right here. And if you see me glancing down, I'm looking at like our puppet monitor. We've got one puppet right here that has the background with the street lamp. And then we have a separate puppet, which is just like a piece of paper with the shape of the light cut out. And then that is opened second. So first we open up the background that Julia's throwing on now. And then Julia uses her hands to make that shard of light appear. So again, like a really simple, which is the core of how we approach puppetry. Because we want to move at the pace of film, every puppet is only up for a matter of seconds, so we try to keep the mechanism simple and direct. Can't talk about it. Oh yes, we did get. So we got a question about Monkey Paw's Candyman, which we are so incredibly excited about, but cannot talk about whatsoever. So no questions.
This is true.
Waiting for the next question to roll in. Benton's on the questions across the studio. That's it? Okay, great. Thank you guys. Those were all such wonderful questions. It was so thrilling to do our first puppet time with you. I wish that I could see you all in person in a theater, but it was so nice to connect to you through your questions on this chat. I'm going to hand it over to Julia.
Hi guys, thanks so much for tuning in tonight for our first experiment in live stream theater for Manual Cinema. Please join our newsletter on our website to keep up to date on what projects are coming next. And thank you again so much for tuning in. We miss you and have a great night. Bye.